Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round number 2 of the Monday night UK&I Skip Barber series live on RaceSpotTV. Tonight we're coming to you from the legendary Brands Hatch circuit in Kent, England, and we're going to be using the extremely short Indy layout. It's going to be a very intense race today, as we have about 51 second laps and 56 cars on the grid. We're going to be going for 24 laps, so it's going to be a very quick one. With you as always is myself, Linus Broström, and Nolan Rempel with Hugo Lees on the cameras. And Nolan, 56 cars at Brands Indy, what do you make of that?
Well, I think the start's certainly going to be quite chaotic, Linus. You know, 56 cars around a track where you could run 51 second laps. We're certainly in for a treat of high stakes and action-packed racing, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I think we will, and well, we'll try and get through the grid pretty quick here now before we get going, as we have about 1 minute to green. So Simon Edwards on pole position, just like last week. Leo Yu second, George Streetley in third, Anthony Catt in fourth, Sarah Savage fifth, Ben Daniels in sixth, Ewan Patterson seventh, Dave Martin in eighth, Neil Bamber in ninth, and Clark Williams rounding out the top 10. Peter Cowan, Kane Halliburton, James McRitchie, Steve Hefford, Lee Anderson, Daniel Tufts, Matt Cox, Nicholas Von Roberts in 18th, Chris Bassett 19th, and Jake Tucker in 20th. And the rest of the grid will be up on your screen. Last week, season opener Simon Edwards was on pole, but he had some technical issues and had to start from the pits, so he will definitely be wanting a good result. And it's green and it's go, and we'll be coming down into turn number 1. Simon Edwards getting ahead of Leo Yu pretty nicely there, single filing out throughout pretty much, well, the top 2, because third and fourth are side by side coming into turn number 1 down the hill. Looking good so far with the top 20. See, all the cars behind seem to be getting...
He's on the racetrack, sitting out of turn up 2. He's being hit all over the place. We have a massive pile up, really. Peter Cohen's car is absolutely destroyed. The back end of the car is just about gone. Michael Wong is also caught up into it. Darren Morris's front suspension is completely shattered. Nick McCurran is making a nose, missing a nose. We still have cars all over the place as they exit turn number 3, and now coming into the final half of the track as well.
Yeah, there's cars going off left, right, and center here, trying to keep up with everything. But at the front it is Simon Edwards, who's holding on to the lead from Leo Yu and Anthony Catt, Ben Daniels. And well, apart from all those cars that crashed, the front 20 seems to be doing pretty well here. Spreading out a lot quicker than I expected, and Simon Edwards has got a huge gap now down to Leo Yu and Simon Edwards, who seem to be, Anthony Catt, who seems to be battling way too hard for second.
It's certainly going to be interesting to see how this lead fight will pack up here. Of course, a bunch of incidents on our opening lap, so that caused some really chaotic and spaced the field out all over the racetrack. Got another fight as well down there for 4th place. That's between Ben Daniels and George Streetley. Streetley trying to make the lookout around the outside now. Going into turn number 1, he's going to get back in line. Not going to make it work as Ben Daniels covers that inside line nicely into the Paddock Hill bend.
He did a good job holding on to... onto that position. Passing around the outside through turn number 1 is not something you really want to do, as the leaders are catching up to lap traffic already. Believe that is Ian Malone being the next car being a lap down. Cat is just lap 1000, so this is going to be chaos from lap number 2 for these leaders pretty much. Simon Edwards, so with a really good start, he's driving away. He's almost got a second on Leo Yu already, and these are the top 3 drivers expecting to be battling for the championship, so they'll especially Simon Edwards with that terrible race 1, he'll want a really good result, and he's doing everything he can at the moment, pulling away with the lead. And a little bit further back, Ewan Patterson has dropped back quite a bit. He was in 6th at the start of this lap. He's now down almost outside the top 20, so he must have had some sort of an incident.
I think he spun out in turn 2 in the last lap. I saw one car that had been sideways back there and managed to get out of everybody's way. That must have been Pattinson, considering he did drop back so much. Down to 16th place. He's now going to go 3 wide, pass some lap traffic while trying to get around Jake Reddington. Going to make that move stick in turn number 2. Reddington tries to fight back around the outside. He's going to get 2 wheels off out of the sausage curves. Manages to get the car back in line as Pattinson picks up 15th place.
Yeah, good move by him there. Very well executed pass using the lap traffic to his advantage. Getting well through the 3 wide there as well. And right behind these guys we have, well, a bit further up the field, we have battle for 8th place with Matt Cox, Daniel Tufts and Nicholas Von Roberts. They were a bit closer about 2 corners ago, but here they come. Tufts up the inside of Matt Cox, see if he can get to position. He's not going to be quite close enough, though. He's going to back out, almost runs into the back of him going down the hill. But Cox is going to hold on to 8th for now, coming back up the hill. Now Tufts is under pressure from, Hefford is under pressure from Tufford and Von Roberts. And got a lap car again getting in the way. Von Roberts around the outside though. He's going to pass Tucker, but he's not going to get to Hefford. So Von Roberts up into, actually down to 11th. Chaos can't keep up with who's passing who.
It's certainly chaotic, to say the least. You know, you have all these lead lap cars trying to work their way around lap traffic while they're also trying to pass around each other. Steve Hefford, he's getting a little bit loose through the final corner. He's going to keep that car straightened up. Meanwhile, Roberts now under pressure from Jake Tucker. Gets into the slipstream as they come down the front, Brabham straight towards the Paddock Hill bend for what will now be the 6th time today. As Tucker makes his way down. Can he make the lookout? Not quite, not nearly close enough. Oh, he is going to make a look as Roberts gets a little out of shape coming into the corner and he goes into the sand trap.
He does. Here comes Tucker up the inside. Oh, and Roberts is in the wall. Roberts is in the wall. He's going to keep it there. There's no major harm done there, but his race is over. He's just going to get out of that car and retire. That's very unfortunate for him, but well done by Tucker to make that pass though before that happened. Now he's going to pick up the pace for Hefford in 10th, and then ahead of him again, Tufts and Cox are all over each other in P8 and 9 coming into the last corner, but nothing major going to happen there. Back at the front though, Simon Edwards leading still by about 0.8, 0.9, so almost a second down to Leah Hughes, and behind him there is a 2.5 seconds down to 3rd, where we got Cat and Daniels and Streetley, now a trio fighting for 3rd. So Cat has had some sort of issue having dropped back to these guys. Here comes Daniels up the inside, and he is going to get that position fairly easily. I wonder if Cat has some sort of an issue here.
I don't see any damage on that car, Linus, so it looks like that car might just be all good for now. Might have gotten a little out of shape following Daniels as they exit off of turn number 3, down through that little backstretch through turn number 4 now, then up the hill, down for turns 5, to round it around, to go back from the paddock straight, and Anthony Cat, again, touch of out of shape, a little bit of a wiggle from the back end. Streetley doing a good job not to plow through the back end of that number 8 machine as they come onto the Brabham straight once again.
They do, and he's got a massive draft now. Cat on Daniels, he's not going to get quite close enough though, but here comes Streetley up the inside, and he's going to try and get that 4th position, and it looks like, oh, he's not going to be able to clear him though. Cat is on the outside, he's going to get a wheel in the gravel. Hold on to it, Cat, he does. Streetley's got the inside now though, coming up to the top of the hill in Druids, and he's going to get that 4th position, so Cat dropping down into 5th, and this is not going to be good for his championship, but maybe he's just taking it easy now, trying to get back. But we're already on lap number 8 out of 24, so this race is flying by really quickly.
It certainly is. You know, we're already just about 4 laps away from our halfway marker. As Streetley takes a wider line on the entry to Clark Curve and manages to keep the car, turns it back in, and then goes back to the outside for the Brabham straight, trying to fend off Anthony Cat, who's now got a big toe down this front straightaway into turn number 1. Cat got a little bit out of shape here last time, got 4 wheels into the sand. He's not going to get 4 wheels into the sand this time. Almost graces it though. Not close enough to make something work into turn number 2.
Nicely done there down the hill, and up front Edwards and Leah Hughes are navigating some lap traffic here. Hughes had some issues up in Druids with that last lap car, but he got through it eventually. Edwards now right up on the back of the next one. He's just going to let him go actually, and well, this is going to be an issue for these guys all race long. And now the next car for Edwards is actually Sarah Savage, who started in 5th after a great qualifying effort, and she's now back in 47th, so she was one of the cars that got involved early on Looking back now towards 6th and 7th though, they are battling some lap cars as well. That's James McRitchie and Kane Halliburton. McRitchie's going to look to the inside coming into turn 1. He's actually not, he's just going to back out of it and let him have it. Maybe he's going to try and get a run down the hill back up into Druids again. Halliburton goes a little bit wide, as does McRitchie, so they're going to stay nose to tail for now. McRitchie having a slight look up the inside as Halliburton, Halliburton gets a little bit loose, but McRitchie not quite close enough, so going to stay nose to tail for now. Maybe he just wants Halliburton to catch up to the guys in front.
Halliburton, another little wiggle from the back end as they came through turn number 3 and manages to keep the car under control. Runs it a little wide on the exit, but that allowed McRitchie to close in that little bit more. He's trying to hunt him down. He'll have a big tow coming onto the Brabham Straight. Do you think, oh, another big twitch out from Halliburton now as they come onto the Brabham Straight, that front stretch for the 10th time today. Do you think that McRitchie might be able to make a look this lap? If he can get a good drive through turn number 1, he could make a big run up the hill and maybe get him in turn number 2.
Yeah, he definitely could. I think he was a bit too close last time, so he had to back out on the entry. This time he's going to have a run through the corner though. He's going to have a good run. He's going to close up to the back, but he just backs out of it. It doesn't look like he wants to pass Halliburton now. Maybe he feels like Kane is slightly quicker, or he just doesn't want Cox and Hefford and the guys behind him to close up. So he's getting the runs and he's got the opportunity to make a move, but he just chooses not to for some reason. So see how long he'll choose to stay behind there. As right behind him now again, Cox has got a little bit of a gap to Hefford and Tufts in 8th, 9th and 10th. But Tufts is having a look at Hefford here. He's going to try and set him up. Oh, and it actually gets a bit sideways, so that's not going to give him the run that he wanted onto the straightaway. So commentators curse on him screwing up his attempt to make a pass into P number 9, but going to spread out a little bit. Nothing major going to happen down here, I don't think. Maybe he can set him up through turn 1, coming down the hill again, as he seems to be slightly quicker. He gets a little sideways again, wheel in the gravel, and he's going to drop back once more, so nothing happening in this group for now.
He's certainly going to be close enough that he can keep continuing to try to put the pressure on and maybe make something work as well. Meanwhile, up front, battle 5th place, Anthony Catt trying to work his way through some lap traffic with George Streetley. They're still trying to work their way through a big hornet's nest, really, of lap cars here, along with 6th place of Ken Halliburton right behind them as well. Little close off of the corner, because you have to remember that these lap cars, they're also fighting for position amongst themselves, which makes it extremely difficult for the lead lap cars to try to work their way through.
Yeah, this is really testing all the drivers to their maximum, and Halliburton goes a bit wide coming out of turn 1. McRitchie just slides by on the inside. Halliburton pushing a little too harder past the lap traffic, so McRitchie goes up into P number 6 now. He didn't have a choice now, he couldn't stay behind anymore, he just had to make that pass. So see if they can catch back up now, but they've definitely closed up on Catt, Streetley and Daniels in front of him. Daniels has actually pulled away from Streetley and Catt now with all this lap traffic, so he's pretty safely sitting in 3rd and almost a second and a half ahead of Streetley as lap traffic gets out of the way once again. Catt is going to try and get a run here, but it doesn't look like he's going to be quite close enough this time to be able to get a run into turn 1. Maybe he can set him up for turn number 2, as you can see in the background, the lap cars battling amongst themselves as well, like I said earlier. So it's a tricky situation for these guys. They want to get by, they want to pass the lap cars as quickly as they can, but the lap cars as well are battling for position, so they don't just want to back out. As we have 2 cars off up in Druids, they're going to stay well out of the way though, so nothing major to affect these guys as they come by. Try to figure out who that was. That was Neil Bamber and James Child, who goes for a spin again as he loses his right rear tire, and that's going to come straight into traffic, but he's going to bounce past before people catch up, so that was a bit lucky for him.
And that incident started when I believe it was Nick McKernan, checked up the field going into turn number 2, and everybody else just really piled in like an accordion right into the back of him. So it was just a big stack effect that caused that. Cars went left and right to go evasive, and it just caused really a big mess of cars over there at Druids in turn number 2. So a bit of an unfortunate situation, but I hate to say it, it was inevitable with considering the chaos we've seen already this race.
Yeah, it definitely was. Just fortunate that not more cars got involved, and well, Streetley and Catt still going at it right now, coming up to more lap traffic. Daniels is still pulling away. Catt not able to get right up behind Streetley as of yet. They're going really, really wide out of that corner as well, and Well, more lap traffic ahead, so Cat still has got the chance, but he is struggling to keep up with Streetley. He can't get up on the back of him unless he brakes late like he did there, but he gets a bit wide, gets a bit sideways, so Streetley gets the better exit once again. So Cat really got nothing against Streetley as of now, unless he can get a good tow.
It's a bit of an interesting situation we've got here, because it seems like Anthony Cat is a bit better on the brakes, but he's just never close enough because Streetley can pull away so much on the straights. As now Streetley's going to run a little wide out from turn number 1, but you'll see here, Cat closes in and could have made a look, but didn't go for it in Druids now as they come back down the hill. So a little bit of an interesting situation here. You have one driver that's better on the brakes and another driver that's better on the throttle throughout the mid-corner.
Yeah, it is, and well, at the moment it's paying off for Streetley. Maybe Cat's taking it easy. Yes, we got 3 wide in front of them with the lap cars. They're going to sort themselves out. They'll go 2 by 2 now, and that is for positions 41. And there's contact between them. Wow. And well, they did get out of the way though, so nothing major there.
Now Ray Peasley went for a really wild ride, flipping all the way through the sand trap and slamming into the tire barrier. So Ray Peasley's day, I think it's safe to say, is just completely done with that massive shunt into the tire wall.
Ooh, and up front, Ben Daniels nearly had contact with the lap car that went sideways into turn 1. So he got really lucky there out in the sand, but that's going to cost him a little bit. And looking in front of him, actually, Lei Hughes has caught right up to the back of Simon Edwards. He's now less than 7/10 behind him. So we might get a race for the win here at the end, as we've actually gone past lap 16. We're on lap 17 now, almost on to lap 18. So only 7 laps to go this time by. So this race is almost over already.
A race like this really just can fly by in a blink of an eye when you have all of the chaotic racing that we've been seeing so far throughout this very short 24-lap race thus far. On to lap 18. And I am seeing that Lei Hughes, he is closing in quite steadily, so if that car can manage to keep itself together, or maybe lap traffic plays into it a little bit more, Lei Hughes could very well challenge Simon Edwards for the win here in this race.
He definitely could. He closed almost 2/10 on him on that lap, so he is definitely quicker, and that was without any lap traffic at all. And Ben Daniels about 1.5 seconds behind him as well, so when they start battling, Daniels will be right there as well to try and get in on this battle, but it's still going to be a couple of laps, I think, before Lei Hughes can make a move on Simon Edwards, so we'll have to keep an eye on that as Streetley and Cat are still together. He has pulled a little bit of a gap there though, and further behind them we still got McRitchie and Halliburton, as Halliburton is making a little bit of a look up the inside. He's not going to be able to do anything into turn 1 now, as he's going to stay behind and come up on a lap car. McRitchie almost hits him, and Halliburton as well, but they managed to somehow get underneath him. I don't think Halliburton saw that lap car at all. That was very fortunate for him.
Oh, it really was. And Adrian Fraguela, the lap car that he nearly ran into, he did get out of the way very well. So I think Halliburton was more focused on McRitchie slowing up for the corner a little bit more, and he didn't even realize what he was slowing up for, and it turned out to be that lap car, and he almost ran right through the back of him. So good job on Halliburton for managing to keep the car out of him. It was a very decisive maneuver, to jerk that car hard to the right, sacrifice a little bit of time on McRitchie, but I think he'd rather have to make his way up a few more tenths than retire his car and bring it back to the pits.
Yeah, that was very fortunate for him to be able to avoid that, as it came as a massive surprise. And now at the front again, Lei Hughes within 3/10 of Simon Edwards. He is right there. He's almost close enough now to hit him up the back if he's not careful. So we got ourselves a race here now with 5 laps to go. See if he can make a move next time by into turn 1, or if he's going to do it even earlier. Lei Hughes, so definitely the quicker of the two, and Simon Edwards, having been all by himself in the lead all race long, all of a sudden he's going to have to fight. So see if he can adjust to that, having to run defensively, coming out now of the last corner, and Edwards gets a bit sideways. He's going to hold it straight though, still manages to get a good exit. Maybe Lei Hughes had to check up slightly for that, but he's going to have the draft now coming down the straightaway. Down towards turn 1, Edwards is going really defensively. Hughes is going to look to the outside a bit late, but he's not going to be able to hold it out there, is he? He's going to try and get a crossover possibly. He's not going to be able to do that. Edwards keeps it nicely on the track. Lei Hughes right up behind him, and he's not going to make a move this time. He's going to look wide though, because Edwards goes really defensively, and these guys are pulling away from Daniels, so I think he's settled in for 3rd as of now.
Coming up on 3 laps to go now, 4.5 as of right now. Hughes still really pressuring the back of Simon Edwards. Edwards going to be looking all over his mirrors as Hughes tries to fill them. Lap traffic still up in front of them, could play a role in the ending of this race, but so far Hughes gets the back end stepped out a little bit more. He's going to have a big toe as they come back down across the Brabham Straight. Is he going to be close enough though to maybe look? He's definitely not going to be close enough for turn 1. Will he be close enough though for turn 2?
Gonna try and set him up now, coming down the hill. Edwards does really well through there though, goes well out on the curb. McRitchie got a little bit of a run, but he's nowhere near close enough. Edwards going defensively again. They use having to utilize the outside, but he can't do anything there. He's right up the back again now. And down here you can't really make a pass unless you force your way up next to him as he gets sideways there. Hughes. Edwards goes really wide as Hughes. Both going through the grass off that curb, almost riding too hard, and now he's right up the back of him again. If he can just get really good exit out of this last corner, he could possibly make a move into turn number 1, but Edwards is doing really well through this last corner as Hughes slides a bit wide again. Maybe he's trying to get some extra speed, I don't know. Here he comes in the draft. Edwards is all the way down by the wall, leaving no room whatsoever for Hughes. He's going to go up on the outside. He's going to be almost all the way up alongside of him as they get into the braking zone, but Edwards is going to hold it up the inside, and he is going to pull clear of Hughes once again. There's just no way past him in that corner.
And turn 1, always a very risky place to go for a move, so the fact that Hughes has been trying to make a move around the outside of turn 1, I think really says something about his driving style. Very aggressive, but you know, he's been incredibly consistent throughout this race as well. Once he's gotten clear of lap traffic, still got 1 lap to go, so about another 1.5 minutes, give or take, left in this race. So definitely close enough. He could maybe go for the upset and maybe knock out Simon Edwards from his lead. And remember, Edwards has held that lead for the entirety of this race, and he was your pole sitter as well, so that would be a huge upset for Simon Edwards, who, like you said, looking for the best result possible after a disastrous round 1 with connection issues. Final lap starting this time.
He's really closely used, but he can't really make a move into turn 1. He's going to have to set him up. Now Edwards goes a bit wide in the gravel, but he goes straight to the defensive line. Hughes going to have to go to the outside. He can't get up alongside him. And Edwards looks like he is going to be able to hold on to this for now. Hughes is going to have to get a really good corner here, really good exit, but Edwards opens up the gap slightly, so not going to be enough for Hughes, I don't think, as they come into the last 2 corners for the last time of this race. Hughes getting closer and closer again. He's going to try and go wide to get a run out onto the straightaway. Edwards closes the door on him though. He's not going to give him any room. Here he comes. He's got a slight run. He's going to move to the outside, but it is not going to be enough. Simon Edwards is going to win the race at Brands Hatch Indy. What a finish. And Van Daniels behind him in 3rd, and then McRitchie has actually dropped back behind Streetley and Halliburton. They've had some sort of incident because they spread out a lot here on the last lap, but well, that was an interesting race. People coming in bound bunches here. Can't really find any more big battles going on down the field, so well, that was a good race.
Oh yeah, it very much was, and of course we've got everybody spinning off now in turn 1 now that the race is safely over. But wow, what a finish to say the very least. You know, if that finish line, if the start-finish line was actually closer down to turn 1, Hughes very well may have gotten him. You know, 0.045, that was the margin of victory. So less than half a tenth of a second right there. That race was decided by.
Yeah, it's been, well, just like last week. I think we had 0.059 in that one, so that was really close. But let's go to your post-race results. Simon Edwards comes away with the lead just ahead of Hughes and Van Daniels in 3rd. Anthony Catt managing to get that 4th place in the end ahead of George Streetley, James McRitchie and Kane Halliburton in 7th. Then we had Matt Cox, Daniel Tufts and Steve Hefford rounding out your top 10. Jake Tucker in 11th, Ewan Patterson in 12th, James Ruth Jones in 13th, Jake Ridlington 14th, and Anthony P.M. Jones getting all the way from 50th up to 15th. That's a massive drive. Behind him, Chris Bassett, Peter Parnell, Tim Adcock, Neil Jackson, and Chris J. Morris in P20. Got Tony Stack in 21st, Dave Kirkman 22nd, John McGovern 23rd, Emilio Largo 24th, and Michael Wong in 25th. and he will be the last car to finish on the lead lap, so the rest of the results will be up on your screen. And well, 2 races and 2 finishes with less than 7/100th of a second between first and second. That is almost as great of a start to a season as you can want to have, really.
Absolutely.
See if we can get a couple of drivers on for post-race interviews. They're usually not that quick anymore to get in, but well, what do you make of that race? Chaotic, to say the least.
I think chaotic is even that is a bit of an understatement, to say the very least, with all the different incidents that we had all throughout the race. But still, it was absolutely fantastic, the racing that we saw. It's definitely, that was definitely something else, I will say. Throughout the races that I've commentated over my time with RaceSpotTV, that's definitely been the most chaotic out of all of them, I think I can safely say.
Yeah, 50, I think we ended up with 57 cars on this track, so that's less than 1 car per second if they all spread out across the track. We had actually 4 cars drop out already on the first lap, and then a couple more, so wasn't quite as crowded as it could have been, but still, cars all around the racetrack. And well, it doesn't seem like anybody is on their way into the RaceSpot booth for... Oh, actually, here he comes, the race winner, Simon Edwards, just as we're about to wrap up. Simon had a good start there, pulled away a pretty nicely gap, and then Leah Hughes came out of nowhere and caught you towards the end. How was that race with all the traffic?
Yeah, I've never had a race like that before. Yeah, the traffic cost me enough time for Leah to just grab on my toe again. He was quick as well, so it's we were about the same speed. And then it got a bit scary at the end with knowing if he could get past or not. But it was a good race, I enjoyed it. I just got a bit scared at least twice going through the back market.
Yeah, that was, well, pretty much the best comeback you could ask for after the disastrous round 1 you had. So obviously still in the championship hunt, but we've had 2 finishes now with first and second being less than a 10th apart, so it's going to be a very interesting season, to say the least. So how do you look forward for the rest of the season? You think you're still capable of getting that championship now, despite the disastrous round number 1?
Yeah, it's only one. If I get another bad result, it becomes difficult like last season, but it's only 1 bad result, so I'm just forgetting it.
Well, congrats on the win anyway. Anybody you want to say thanks to or shout out to before we go?
You guys, of course. I've got my new kit. I think I told you about it last time, so I've got my nice SimiCube. So thank you to SimiCube for making them. SimiCube 2. I'm going to try and get some sponsorship, do you reckon? I doubt it. But yeah, it's making a difference to the feel of iRacing. I'm not particularly faster, but it is making it more enjoyable for that sort of thing. So that's it, really. Well,
thank you for that, and congrats again on the win. Next week we will be coming from New Hampshire Motor Speedway with the road course layout. We were there at the end of last season, so not going to be too long of a gap between those 2 races, but I hope you will join us then, and hopefully we'll have the same excitement as we brought you today. From all of us here at RaceSpot, thank you. It's been Linus Broström, Nolan Rumpel with Hugo Lees on the cameras, and see you next week.